The development of the venous system. The veins in the embryo can be divided into two groups, visceral veins and somatic veins. The visceral veins include the vitelline or the omphalomesenteric veins, which drain the yolk sac, and the umbilical veins from the placenta. The somatic veins are the cardinal veins. The anterior cardinal veins drain the cranial part of the embryo, whereas the posterior cardinal veins drain the caudal part of the embryo. Both the anterior and posterior cardinal veins drain into the common cardinal veins, also called the duct of Cuvier. All the three paired veins, that is, the vitelline and the umbilical veins, which are the visceral veins, and the common cardinal veins, which are the somatic veins, all these drain into the corresponding horn of the sinus venosus. Coming to the visceral veins and their fate. The vitelline veins, they are embedded in the septum transversum, which forms the liver. The proximal part of the vitelline veins breaks down to form the hepatic sinusoids, whereas the terminal part of the vitelline veins form the right and left hepatocardiac channels, which connect the sinusoids of the liver to the sinus venosus. The umbilical veins get disconnected from the sinus venosus. The right umbilical vein now disappears. The left is left, or the left umbilical vein lives. The left horn of sinus venosus and the left hepatocardiac channel also disappear. The remaining right hepatocardiac channel is now called the common hepatic vein. Another intrahepatic passage develops, which connects the left umbilical vein to the right hepatocardiac channel. This duct is called the ductus venosus. The right and left vitelline veins, which lie on either side of the duodenum, now form three transverse anastomoses. The cranial and caudal anastomoses are ventral to the duodenum, whereas the middle anastomosis lies dorsal to the duodenum. The superior mesenteric and splenic veins now join the left vitelline vein just distal to the dorsal anastomosis. The following parts now disappear. The right vitelline vein caudal to the dorsal anastomosis disappears. The left vitelline vein caudal to the entry of the superior mesenteric and splenic veins also disappears. The left vitelline vein between the cranial ventral and middle dorsal anastomosis disappears, and the caudal ventral anastomosis also disappears. As a result, the portal vein is formed. The portal vein is formed by the left vitelline vein between the entry of the superior mesenteric and splenic veins, the dorsal anastomosis, and the right vitelline vein between the dorsal and cranial ventral anastomosis. The left branch of portal vein is formed by the cranial ventral anastomosis and the left vitelline vein just cranial to this anastomosis, whereas the right branch of portal vein is formed by the right vitelline vein just cranial to the ventral anastomosis. The vitelline veins can be divided into three parts by the developing liver. The infrahepatic part forms the portal vein, the intrahepatic part forms the hepatic sinusoids, and the suprahepatic part, the left vitelline vein disappears, whereas the right vitelline vein forms the common hepatic vein or the right hepatocardiac channel. This will later on form the cranial-most part of the inferior vena cava. The umbilical veins, the right umbilical vein disappears, the left is left, or the left umbilical vein lives. The left umbilical vein joins the left branch of the portal vein, and a ductus venosus is the channel which connects the left branch of portal vein to the common hepatic vein. After birth, the ductus venosus forms the ligamentum venosum, whereas the left umbilical vein forms the ligamentum teres of the liver. Now coming to the somatic veins or the cardinal veins. The anterior cardinal veins drain into the common cardinal veins, and the common cardinal veins drain into the corresponding horn of the sinus venosus. Now the subclavian veins, which drain the upper limb, drain or open into the anterior cardinal veins. The right and left anterior cardinal veins are connected with the help of a transverse anastomosis. The following parts will disappear or regress: the left common cardinal vein and the left anterior cardinal vein caudal to the transverse anastomosis disappear. The superior vena cava now is formed by the right common cardinal vein and the right anterior cardinal vein just caudal to the transverse anastomosis, whereas the right brachiocephalic vein develops from the right anterior cardinal vein between the transverse anastomosis and the subclavian vein. The left brachiocephalic vein is formed by the transverse intercardinal anastomosis and the left anterior cardinal vein between the transverse anastomosis and the left subclavian vein. The internal jugular vein develops from the anterior cardinal veins cranial to the subclavian veins. The anterior cardinal veins on the left side, the left anterior cardinal vein caudal to the transverse anastomosis, and the most cranial part of the left posterior cardinal vein form the left superior intercostal vein. On the right side, the most cranial part of the right posterior cardinal vein forms the azygous vein, which drains into the superior vena cava. The coronary sinus develops from the left horn of sinus venosus and the proximal part of the left common cardinal vein, whereas the distal part of the left common cardinal vein forms the oblique vein of left atrium. The congenital anomalies associated with the superior vena cava are mainly due to the failure of regression of the left anterior and the left common cardinal veins. It may lead to a double superior vena cava, that is, a vena cava on the right as well as the left side. This is usually accompanied by the absence of the left brachiocephalic vein. The right superior vena cava opens into the right atrium, whereas the left superior vena cava opens through the coronary sinus into the right atrium. Sometimes a left superior vena cava may be present. It opens through the coronary sinus into the right atrium. The posterior cardinal veins. The cranial ends of the posterior cardinal veins drain into the anterior cardinal veins, whereas the caudal ends receive the external and internal iliac veins from the lower limb and the pelvis. The two posterior cardinal veins are interconnected with each other near their caudal ends with the help of a transverse anastomosis. Another pair of longitudinal channels of veins develop ventromedially in relation to the mesonephros called the subcardinal veins. Cranially and caudally, the right and left subcardinal veins communicate with the corresponding posterior cardinal veins. They also receive veins from the developing kidneys, that is, the renal veins. At the level of the renal veins, the right and left subcardinal veins become connected with each other through a transverse anastomosis called the intersubcardinal anastomosis. This lies pre-aortic, that is, anterior to the aorta. Another longitudinal pair of veins develops called the thoracolumbar veins. These are present dorsally and are called the supracardinal veins. They also communicate cranially and caudally with the posterior cardinal veins. The cranial part of the right subcardinal vein now develops an anastomosis with the right hepatocardiac channel. The corresponding subcardinal veins now communicate with the supracardinal veins just below the level of the renal veins. These longitudinal venous channels Some parts of these now disappear, thus forming the inferior vena cava. The inferior vena cava is now formed by 6 veins. From the caudal to the cranial, the sequence of the veins are the caudal part of the right posterior cardinal vein, the caudal part of the right supracardinal vein, the right supracardinal and subcardinal anastomoses, the right subcardinal vein, the right subcardinal and hepatocardiac anastomoses, the right hepatocardiac channel or the common hepatic vein. The right common iliac vein develops from the most caudal part of the right posterior cardinal vein, whereas the left common iliac vein develops from the transverse anastomosis connecting the 2 posterior cardinal veins. The renal veins. The right renal vein develops from the mesonephric vein, whereas the left renal vein, which is longer, develops from the mesonephric vein, the left subcardinal vein and the intersubcardinal anastomosis. The suprarenal veins develop from the subcardinal veins above the intersubcardinal anastomosis, and the gonadal veins develop from the subcardinal veins below the intersubcardinal anastomosis. The congenital anomalies associated with the development of the inferior vena cava are a double inferior vena cava. When seen on the left side, it may be due to failure of regression of the left subcardinal and common iliac veins. When seen on the right side, it may be due to persistence of both the right subcardinal and supracardinal veins in the infrarenal part. The left inferior vena cava may be due to persistence of the left subcardinal and supracardinal veins, usually seen infrarenal. Another common condition seen in relation to the development of inferior vena cava is a preureteric vena cava, also called a retrocaval ureter. This is due to the presence of or persistence of the infrarenal part of the inferior vena cava, which develops from the subcardinal vein which lies anterior to the ureter instead of the supracardinal vein which lies posterior to the ureter. As a result, the right ureter then passes behind the inferior vena cava and hooks around its left side, hence called the retrocaval ureter or a preureteric vena cava. Thank you and a happy learning to all.